All right, Kyung, thank you very much. And out front now, Penny Nance, CEO of Concerned Women for America, and Sally Cohn, columnist for the Daily Beast. So, Sally, protesters were carrying a banner we saw that said "Resist Trump." Another set of protesters here in New York, shirts that said "Nasty Women" sign that said "Nasty Women" signs that have Trump's face right on in the center of them. They were, of course, in New York here outside Trump Tower. Was this Women's Day or just women who don't like Trump Day?
No. I mean, look, it is International Women's Day, and the marches, the protests, the wearing red, the demonstrations, the boycotts were to focus on the laws, the culture, the work we have still yet to do in this country to ensure that women who make up more than 51% of the country, are 100% equal in every way, shape, or form in our country. That's simple. And yes, some of the messaging, some of the articulation, some of the protest in the face of those demands are going to be against those denying that equal right, are going to be against, I don't know, the president who has condoned and bragged about sexual assault, who has restricted abortion rights, who is rolling back some of the things we've already won and want to keep moving forward on. So, yeah, of course they go hand in hand. But there's a negative side. There's also the positives of where these women, all of us, women, want to move the country forward.
All right, but when you say they do go hand in hand, Penny, how does that make you feel? It goes hand in hand.
Well, I certainly...
I looked at Trump and Women's Day.
Well, first off, there's things that we can all come together on. International Women's Day should be about the idea that there should be no child brides. There should not be women sold into slavery at ISIS. I looked at the unifying documents, and, I even found a couple of things on there that I could agree with. The idea of restorative justice, the idea of alternative sentencing. But then you lost me on the issue of abortion. Unfortunately, it's a mishmash of messaging. I'm not really sure what they want. I would suspect there's a whole group of women, though, that feel like they're disqualified from taking part in this, just like they were disqualified from being part of the Women's March because we're pro-life. We weren't welcome. So, I would suggest there's ways that we can come together.
But does the Trump part bother you? The Trump T-shirts, the Trump pictures, the Trump signs?
Listen, I believe in the First Amendment. They are welcome. I stood in front of President Obama's house and said things against him when he was president. I welcome others to do the same with this president. I strongly believe that we have a right to speak up and petition our government, and that's all part of what democracy. This is what democracy looks like.
So,
and
Sally,
we agree on that.
So, Sally, a parent posted on, some of the schools were closed, right? And there were mixed reactions to that. One parent on Facebook saying, "You support depriving students of their right to education and placing hardship on working parents with very short notice." Another one, "And this last-minute decision does a disservice to anyone in a family where both parents work full-time." What about this question about this just being something that rich white people can afford to do?
Yes.
And then have the nerve to think that they're actually speaking on behalf of people who don't have that benefit.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a rich white person myself, I sent my kid to public school today and was darn glad it was open. So I want to be clear, this stuff is complicated, right? There's no one way, just like there's no one way to be a woman, there's no one way to protest, right? So I think what's also important to remember is that we have a profound and important history of these kinds of protests in general, but strikes and boycotts in our country. When Samuel Adams and the early revolutionaries threw 342 barrels of tea into the Boston Harbor, I'm sure it was inconvenient for tea drinkers too, but we look back on that moment and are thankful that it led to the revolution, led to the freedoms that we now enjoy. So these moments of inconvenience, and that's what they are meant to serve as symbolic and important mobilizing moments to remind our country of what's at stake.
So Penny doesn't do that, because in your op-ed you wrote, "Women don't make it to the boardroom by pouting.
Right.
We reach these elusive roles by being the best, and one becomes the best by showing up."
That's right. And let me just say, on the point of the schools closing, I mean, that is exactly the wrong message for young women. They need to be asked to compete and contend and to work hard. And that's how the second wave feminists cracked the glass ceiling. I really feel like, and then the second point is on education. It's the politicization of the school system. It's the very thing that drives parents like me. And by the way, my daughter attended 2 years at Alexandria City Schools, and it was this kind of stuff that sent us to private school. I wanted to attend that school, but it wasn't a place that was inclusive and welcoming to us. And it's just a shame. It plays right into our hands on the idea of school choice.
And you found private school less liberal than public school? I'm sort of shocked.
Trinity Christian School is a very conservative place. Yeah. You're welcome to.
I mean, look, the larger issue here is that look, all women, you're right, can't afford to take off and watch their kids on a day when there's no school if their kids are sick.
Yeah.
That's a larger issue. That's not about one day of protest. That's about the fact that we are the only industrialized nation in this world that doesn't have paid family leave policies, by the way, that Republicans and conservatives have opposed. So, yes, you're right. Show up and compete. But I'll be honest,
Although,
women are working hard.
I will leave it only on this note to say Donald Trump is on your side.
I know, and that is...
So there we go.
That is surprising, but it'd be nice if we also started talking about equal pay, ending sexual assault, rights for LGBT women, racial justice. I mean, there's a whole...
Thank you
let's
both.
move forward.
Thank you both.